And I don't know if I would have had this amount of gain and gratitude had it not been for these experiences, the pain and struggle. On the other hand, I have learned that life doesn't have to be a constant struggle either in order to achieve what you really want to achieve and get to where you really want to get. When we align our thoughts, beliefs, and intentions with what we desire, we at that point tap into the power of the universe to attract opportunities and experiences that support our goals. By focusing on positivity, gratitude, and visualization, we can create a harmonious flow in our lives, leading to success with ease. I've had many of these experiences as well, by the way. So it's not just been the no pain, no gain and all that, right? I have had many experiences that truly seem like magic has taken over. Welcome to the Life is a Healing Journey podcast by yours truly, Anuschka, with a C. This podcast explores how you can create a true healthy lifestyle and live your life to the fullest in the face of any circumstance by healing and balancing your mind, body, spirit. If you are someone that's been dealing with disharmony in any area of your life and you are committed to seeking harmony, this podcast is for you. Let's start healing. Today's podcast is focused on the body piece of mind, body, spirit. As I always say, the greater the pain and struggle, the greater the gain and gratitude. And of course, I've learned also that we don't have to experience pain and struggle in order to leap into our next level either. However, it is by overcoming adversity that we learn to become resilient and stronger and have more gratitude for the times we are alive and high vibing and really experiencing joy. Otherwise, if we were always in that high vibe joy mode, we would actually never really have the gratitude we do when we do experience those low vibing, not so great moments in life. Now think about your younger self and having those growth spurts or growing pains, as they call them, right? Those growing pains that they experience as children experience, really. I personally never experienced that myself. I grew more so a little bit at a time, and I was pretty much fully grown by the time I was in middle school, I think even sixth grade. And it really because I started puberty earlier than most that were my age. I actually started my menstrual cycle at 9 years old. I remember always being embarrassed to share about it in front of my fellow classmates. And I did get laughed at because I'm pretty sure the only one I knew I think I was in fourth grade, so fourth or fifth grade, that had gotten her cycle. And so I always was trying to keep it hidden. But because of that, I was the tallest one. I had gone through my little moments of growth, not the growth spurts. Mine was gradual. And I was the tallest in fifth grade, actually. And what I remember standing in the pictures, the pictures that they took back then, standing in the back row because of that reason. And then suddenly everyone else just started growing once I hit middle school and it started outgrowing me that were much shorter than me, as if suddenly they grew inches overnight. And I became one of the shorter ones, which I embrace now, of course. It's not about the height, right? It's about the personality. They would also talk about these growing pains. I remember these kids, these fellow friends of mine, and they were experiencing it in their legs. So I remember that it was something that I learned much later because I always said, oh, I don't have pain in my legs. I don't understand what that is. Kind of thought I was missing out, but from what I hear, it's not the best. It's not the best thing to feel in your body, right? So anyhow, that said, remember those growing spurts, right? Growing pains, that's part of it. So once you go through those massive growth, to go from like where you are and you want to exponentially grow, there's going to be more pain than the gradual minimal growth. So that's one of the ways of looking at it. Another way is just looking at muscles, right? For anyone that's ever tried building muscles, I know I have. Anyone that goes into strength training and wants to lift weights, of course, in the initial moments with like the lowest of weights, you will experience those growing pains. And I'm sure those are the soreness that you've experienced. So if you're anything like me or anyone else that's ever lifted weights, you will have experienced soreness. Again, growing pains because your muscles are growing. And once your muscle stops having the pain, it's because it's gotten used to the weight. So if you want to keep growing the muscle, what do you have to do? Increase the weight, right? To get the muscles to continue growing. No pain, no gain. And there's that whole methodology, the idea, right, of no pain, no gain comes, I believe, from this. Now, many of us have been conditioned to believe that achieving our goals and dreams requires hard work, struggle, sacrifice, even, right? I'm not about the sacrificing piece, I'll tell you that. And I've learned to not be that way. Yet that's how a lot of times people are conditioned. This no pain, no gain mindset suggests that success and getting to where you really want to be can only be attained through blood, sweat, and tears. And really, that's not always the case either to that extent. On the other hand, there is a growing movement that's been centered around manifesting with ease, which encourages us to focus on aligning our thoughts, beliefs, intentions to effortlessly attract what we desire. When you make a conscious effort to be in control of your thoughts, which then creates the emotions, and by having set your intentions, then manifestation can seem like magic. Setting an intention and creating a future vision that you get to live into is really the key to manifest anything in your life. Otherwise, when there is no intention, then where is it that you are focusing on, right? So that in itself creates a way of you to start focusing your thoughts and emotions and everything towards that future vision. Now, there's the whole thing of which approach is essential for personal growth and success. For many believe that you have to go through the struggle in order to get to the next level. And when it comes to the no pain, no gain belief, overcoming challenges and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is where true growth happens. It's through hard work, dedication, taking action, right? That we develop resilience and learn valuable skills, achieving our goals. It's through the struggle where our character is built and makes the achievement of something that has been, in a sense, really put a lot of effort into. It makes that so much sweeter when you're going through the struggle and pain of it. Again, the other side of it just feels like so as if it's earned in a sense, right? It's why I truly admire those that are self-made, that have come from nothing and have built mansions or built a legacy for themselves. To me, that's admirable to really see them going through all that in order to get what they've really been wanting to accomplish, having that drive and ambition and just pushing through it all to get that, right? Because again, when there's the greater the pain and struggle, the greater the gain and gratitude, right? It's the balance, like the pendulum that I've shown before. And from that, you actually will see the difference it makes when you get to that place from that pain, right? Having that pain and struggle. And then you have that you have so much more gratitude for the other side of it. You don't take things for granted. And either I know personally too, I am strong, resilient. And my friends always say that I have grit because of my own shortcomings in life that ignited this fire within me to really make something of myself. And I was always pushing forward to making sure I did all the things to achieve all the things I truly desired. At times, I remember I had two jobs. Well, in college, I had like four part time jobs, but after I graduated, I was working one part time job in the morning, and then from afternoon until almost midnight, I was doing tech support at another company. So I don't even remember how many hours I was working, and somehow I managed to still have fun and go to clubs and go dancing and party and everything too. Don't ask me how. But it was for me because it was so important for me to just keep on pushing through, right? Being that strong, resilient person and making things happen. No pain, no gain. For me, that was the pain of it, right? It's just go, 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 go. Yeah, I think I was even eating in lunch in the car as I was driving, right? Again, it was because of the difference in way I was raised to really just make sure I made something of myself. And for me, it has been the greater the pain and struggle. And really, I've experienced that gain in gratitude most of my life. Now, then came the brain tumor healing journey, which opened my eyes to something new. And although I still believe it's through the pain that we experience where we really learn to be grateful and not take life for granted, because I've seen some that really have not experienced much pain and tend to also take things for granted, right? Even myself, until I was faced with death and, in a sense, feel like conquered that, hey, death, and conquered death and really face it to the point where, yes, it's part of our life, right? Once I hit that is when I truly got to experience what gratitude is. Again, that the greater that pain and struggle, the greater the gain in gratitude, right? So I do believe that's definitely the case. Now, I also, again, believe in manifestation with ease. The thing is that based on every person, your experience is going to be different, right? Every person has unique experience. What might be very painful to me might not be, or struggle for me might not be that much for someone else. Or maybe something that seems to be very not so much of a struggle for me might seem like, oh my goodness, how can you even go through that? That's insane, right? For someone else. Every person's path looks completely different. And what may be a struggle to one person that I may perceive as not so much, or maybe a lot more than mine, for them, it's most likely going to be felt as the same as what mine is, right? We all go through our own journeys differently. And then that said, when you actually look at it that way, then each person, based on their childhood experience and everything they've gone through, can have these really massive struggles that may seem like nothing to someone else, right? I had a client a few years ago who also had the same the glioblastoma GBM brain tumor. And she had the perfect life growing up, no struggles. Everything was just handed to her in a platter and didn't really have to work. I don't even think like until even in college, I don't think she was working. Everything was just her parents were very well off and were able to support her and everything. And so she really never experienced anything harsh in her life. And we got into having these conversations throughout a few sessions until finally she opened up, because we were just trying to discover where in life she's had some kind of uh, anger and resentment built up. And it took a while until she started opening up and said that it was in college where she actually met the love of her life, her first love. I shouldn't say love of her life, the first love of her life. And she was still young. She was at that time, I believe late 20s or something like that. And she was with this first love for about a year or so. And they were very close from what she described. And I believe we're even planning to move in with each other. And all of a sudden, she discovers that the entire time he'd been seeing other women on the side, even though he was really committed to her. And because this was her first time having such a, oh my gosh, devastating. Can you imagine that? Devastating experience. Imagine never having any experience that seemed like a pain or struggle. And then boom, you get hit with something like this. Absolutely, absolutely heartbreaking, right? So this completely crushed her. And so much so, being young, that she ended up suppressing all these emotions. Like she was not willing to even go there. And she was pretending that she was completely fine and that she had already let it go. And at the time, I believe she was dating someone else. But because I connect with people on an energetic level, thanks to quantum entanglement, I'm able to really connect with them energetically and feel them. I see words, I see visions, and I can feel if someone has anger built up or resentment or anxiety, whatever it may be, I can feel it. And so no matter how much they may not even have awareness of it, I can sense it from my clients or whoever's subconscious level when I get connected, even though they may not be willing to go there themselves or have the awareness of it. I could feel this anger and resentment that was just inside of her. But because it was something that she'd never experienced before, because it was the first true pain that she experienced growing up, the pain was so strong that she was not willing to ever really feel it. And so she suppressed it rather than really feeling it. And in order to have growth, that gain, you must feel it. You must feel to heal. And once that pain is released, growth really becomes inevitable. There's nowhere else to go, right? They say we're always growing or dying, right? So what path do you want to take? Either way, we're going through this life. And at the end, we are all going to the same place. And some people will choose to not deal with such pain because of how hurtful it can be to them, where they don't think they can handle it. But trust me, you can handle it. Once you feel it, you'll release it fully and you'll get to a place of peace and non-attachment. And again, if that's something you're struggling with, I'm only a click away, right? So don't forget, there are ways to do this. I also had that experience in college. And I actually remember speaking with a healer. So he was like a subconscious reprogrammer shortly after my brain tumor surgery. And he mentioned that this tumor that I had was triggered right after I ended this truly the worst relationship I was in, where I was emotionally and physically abused, lied to, and he even tried controlling what I wore, where I went, and all that stuff, which did not work, by the way, because no one tells me what to do. And so I always ended up doing my own thing. But the problem is I felt trapped and I just didn't know how to end it, since he continuously threatened to take his own life. That was his way of keeping a hold on me, right? Of course, he was manipulative, but I didn't know. I was blinded. And so my young, naive self in this relationship was completely, in a sense, brainwashed. I look back now and I would definitely have handled things differently. And I learned so much through the pain and struggle of this. Afterwards, I had built so much anger and resentment myself, and it was completely suppressed. However, it would show up. It would sometimes show up, and I wouldn't understand where all this anger would all of a sudden burst out of me. But it was all related to this situation. And there was other situations too, because of the amount of others I had also experienced before him. And so of course, things had been building up for some time. Now I worked on myself and experienced the pain, really allowed myself to feel all the emotions many years later, really to heal the trauma. Because after being diagnosed with the brain tumor, I was willing to do anything that it took to release all the trauma and release all the anger and resentment and sadness that remained inside of me and get that out of me in order to truly heal the root cause of it. Now, this is not the kind of pain and struggle I would ever want anyone to go through. It's not what I would wish upon anyone. Although I did grow massively because of this experience. And it's really through my healing journey, I have learned that I had to go through every horrible relationship imaginable, including my first boyfriend being murdered in senior year of high school. Can you imagine that? As a senior, it was at the beginning of senior year, Labor Day. So it was called the Labor Day Massacre. And so my entire senior year, sometimes I just don't even remember how I went through that whole year. And of course, I would get detectives coming to my house asking me questions and things. I even got subpoenaed to go to court right before graduation. So that was my senior year, right? And that in itself was really the reason why it was really tough for me to end relationships afterwards. And that was why I felt trapped. It's like as if I couldn't end that abusive relationship. Something was just stopping me. It was really strange. I mean, looking back, I can really understand why now, but that's what had me trapped, right? So it was really all these different relationships from the very first, like I said, the murder to the abusive and the cheating and all the other things that I had to experience to be able to be a relationship coach. So throughout my coaching and everything, that is one of the number one things I work with is really creating healthy relationships, and not just romantic ones, by the way, either. Healthy relationships as a whole, to really be able to set these boundaries, right, with people and not allow people to have this toxic behavior towards you. So for me, that was the silver lining. And I always knew and said deep down, I always knew that the next relationship, it would be a better one. And it always was. But I never settled because there was always something that I just knew that wasn't the one. And because of all of it is the reason I have so much gratitude for Ashkan. And not to say our relationship is perfect. No one's is, right? And it's just something that sometimes when I look back at all the relationships from before, I just really am beyond grateful. And I don't think that I would be able to be this grateful for this husband of mine, who's my rock, who literally took me to the courthouse to get married 2 weeks after I was released from the hospital after surgery, just to prove to me that he's in this with me, right? I mean, that in itself shows you what kind of person he is. And I was meant to go through all of that to really be able to have this gratitude for this person that's in my life. And I don't know if I would have had this amount of gain and gratitude had it not been for these experiences, the pain and struggle. On the other hand, I have learned that life doesn't have to be a constant struggle either in order to achieve what you really want to achieve and get to where you really want to get. When we align our thoughts, beliefs, and intentions with what we desire, we at that point tap into the power of the universe to attract opportunities and experiences that support our goals. By focusing on positivity, gratitude, and visualization, we can create a harmonious flow in our lives, leading to success with ease. I've had many of these experiences as well, by the way. So it's not just been the no pain, no gain, and all that, right? I have had many experiences that truly seem like magic has taken over. Like you can't make it up type of stuff, right? And through my entire year-long training program, I actually discovered and this is something I work with clients on, you discover your life's purpose. And I discovered my life's purpose is magic, is to really be magic and inspire others to see that it's possible for things to just that seem impossible to become possible, right? Being a living miracle in a sense. I even have this magical list where I keep track of all the magical moments that I have manifested, where you're just in shock. And I explain to people all the time. I go, this is what happened. I mean, literally have people's mouths drop. It's like that mind-blowing emoji, right? That's what comes to mind. Just even one of the things that I always have people start with is manifesting parking spaces, like magical parking spaces, which always happens for me, right? That's a very good way to get started on this. Now, I do believe that without putting in the necessary effort, we may miss out on the valuable lessons and personal growth opportunities too. It's essential to have a balance between manifesting and taking action towards your goals. We need to actively participate in shaping our future. We can't just sit there on the couch expecting everything to just fall in our lap. That's not how it works. Many don't realize manifesting with ease doesn't mean sitting back and just, again, waiting for magic just to happen. It really is about being open to opportunities and taking the action and trusting the process. We can still grow and learn while enjoying the journey without unnecessary struggle. Although at times, the pain and struggle comes about to have us really grow on an exponential level. Because the universe sometimes knows what's in your highest good, no matter how conscious you are about your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. So when things are not going your way, which I put in quotes, begin to question your thoughts, feelings, behavior, and all the words you're using, whether you're speaking them or thinking them, when you are faced with pain and struggle. And if it's beyond you and you feel that you're in alignment and you sense you're in alignment with everything that your intention is and your thoughts and everything, in that time, think about, okay, what is the universe putting out here for me? Embrace it and really begin to seek the gift in it. What is the gift in all this, right? You won't know while you're in it. You won't ever know. You'll know after the fact when you're looking back, just like all the relationships that I explained, right? Oh my goodness. If I only were to talk, sometimes I say I can write a whole book on just like relationships. And through that, while I was going through each, it was very heartbreaking, painful, and all the things. Now looking back, I can see why I had to go through all of that in order to really get me to the one and only Ashkan, right? So look at everything in your life that way, and by seeking the gift and getting yourself in check too. Just recently, I had that experience with our house situation. We're going through pretty much a rebuild. I wouldn't call it a remodel. We're pretty much rebuilding the home. And it just seems like literally, you can't make this up kind of stuff, but from like a negative perspective where it seems like there's so much chaos. And so I started noticing that, I've been using words like, oh my God, it's just been so crazy. Oh my gosh, it's so chaotic. So guess what's going to come about, right? So really taking a look at any time in life, like even myself, right? I had to catch myself and say, okay, now this is just too much in my face. Like, what is happening here? And really catch to see what you are putting out there. Now, of course, with me, there's two people involved, right? But really, when it comes to the house, but really look at anything in your life that way to really see where you are coming from yourself and then start to catch it, right? And then, like I said, then you can really begin to seek that gift. Find the right balance between that effort and flow finding the balance between effort and flow is also essential. So really finding that balance there. So it's not, again, always about let's take all the action. There's got to be balance too, where it's getting connected to the energy of it, not just being robotic and autopilot, go, 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 where you're also tapping in to the consciousness of things, to the feminine energy. We're finding that work-life balance to really slow down some too, and taking the action, right? It's just finding the right balance between the two, effort and flow, right? Personal growth and success are really unique to each person. Each person has a unique journey. And you can't just say one works versus the other, one works better than the other one. It really becomes unique to see what each person feels like resonates the most with them, and then adapting that approach accordingly. Whether you choose to embrace the no pain, no gain mindset, or you decide to go with manifesting with ease. Either way, just remember to just be compassionate with yourself, be gracious with yourself, and see if you can balance the two, because there's no right way of doing things. The key is to stay focused on your goals and find joy in the journey to continue to grow to your next level, because life is a healing journey. And the one thing I saw recently is it's not always about let's have all the positive thoughts only. It's just reducing the negative thoughts, right? Catching yourself with the negative thoughts and then replacing it with some of the positive ones. Because again, how can you really embrace life as a healing journey otherwise? Now, for the practice area to integrate in your life, create on a sheet 2 columns. And on the left side, the first column, write a list of all the pain and struggle that you've experienced, right? You can kind of make it spread out. That way you have room to either add, especially for the other side. Once you have this list, and then usually these are always dynamic too, right? So you can always add to it because new things are going to pop up. It's not an assignment or a homework or anything, right? Something to add to, something to ponder about throughout your day. And then on the other side, in the right column, in that second one next to each, begin to write out all the gains, all the gratitudes, the lessons learned, and gifts. Anything that you can think of that came about from the pain and struggle experiences. And really see, that way you can see why you had to go through that and what came from it. Subscribe to not miss next week's episode focused on the spirit piece. Thank you for listening to Life is a Healing Journey podcast. You are here to peel and heal one layer at a time, to live your life to the fullest in the face of any circumstance, while embracing a life filled with love, joy, and peace. If you are in disharmony in any area of your life and truly desire to be in harmony and committed to elevating your health and well-being, I'm one click away. Find me at healingwithanuschka.com. And remember, that's Anuschka with a C. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe and share this podcast with your loved ones. Get your healing on. Until next time.